Everyone, Denny Grimes coming to you from Southwest Florida for another version of Scripts and Dialogues in a C19 world. And what we're really talking about, you guys, is mastery level role play. I've got a group of people that have been regulars coming on and off. And again, it's not to be a master at something. It's not something you do once. And I think I kid around. I was talking to a group out of California this morning. They were up at 7:30. Get that, Sonny? 7:30 to 8, and they're practicing role play with me. And we were talking about one visit, into a karate class doesn't make you a black belt, and you can watch all Cobra Kai you want to, is not going to make you a black belt in karate. So this is something you work on day in and day out, and we do this every week. And all these calls are recorded. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is getting updated as we speak. Go to Denny Grimes Mastermind, first of all, on the Facebook page, and I have a lot of free stuff there, and I'll show you that in a second. The type of martial art, if I can use that analogy that we practice here for the people that haven't been on here in a while, is my formula is question-based, listening enhanced, conversational scripts. And what's interesting about that is that once you understand the logic behind it, just thinking if basically you're giving somebody directions to your house, you got to find out where they are, then you ask a series of questions. Now, what I'd like you guys to be able to do right now is that I want you to be thinking of some objections. I've got some pre-programmed. However, I want you guys to fire them at me. I'm going to give you an opportunity to stump the teacher. That would be me. And if you do, I'll enter you into a drawing for 2 tickets to Greece, one of my favorite movies, and we'll have some fun doing that. Fair enough? Now, last week, or just as a quick review, I shared last week the thought of the day, and for the folks that weren't on, or maybe you don't remember this, I want you guys to realize the goal of a listing agent is not necessarily the goal of a potential seller. And what came to me, and this came to me during a role play, is that the agent basically is listing focused. The agent wants the listing, the seller wants maybe the equity, maybe the cash out, or they want to move. And so one of my ahas, and I shared this with the folks last week, that I am working on never using the word list in a listing presentation. It's all about meeting their goal. Their goal is not to list. Like my goal would not be sitting in the dentist chair. My goal is the white smiley teeth I have after they give me that laser treatment, right? Or that I get rid of the pain, or I have a healthier smile. So just understand our goal, particularly when you talk to an expired or potential seller, is to list. That's not their goal. In fact, on an expired seller, they had a bad experience with listing. They never want to list again. And so the question of the day that we posed last week, I'll just ask it again. Does anybody remember this from last week? The question of the day was, how do you know if you're a great or a good listing agent? What criteria would you use when you wake up in the morning and you use that positive, bold affirmation, I'm a great listing agent? What does that mean to you? What is a great listing agent, particularly in the market right now, that you can have a postage stamp that says for sale on a popsicle stick, and you could stick it in the flower bed in the front of the house, and you have more offers than you can have. You have more offers than Kansas City had points at the Super Bowl. How about that? So what makes a great listing agent, you guys? Anyone, come on.
Someone who maximizes the return and in the time frame of the seller.
Sherry, were you on the call last week?
I was.
She's taking perfect notes. That's my definition, you guys. And I showed a slide last week of there's a lot of things people talk about, thumping their chest about being a great agent. And the number of homes sold, or how long you've been at it, or your sales price to list price, or my days on the market are shorter than your days on the market, and my dad can beat up your dad, that type of thing. Here's what I want you to understand. I think the probably, and I'm open to discussion on this. This is a new concept for me to kind of like pigeonhole this. A great listing agent is not one that show you for the most money, least amount of time, and the least hassles. I mean, I learned that 25 years ago, and I've been using it. I'm thinking, well, one size does not fit all. Some people aren't in a hurry. So that was my definition. A great listing agent is to maximize the return, the equity return for the seller in the time frame that's ideal to the seller. Write that down and maybe see how you can work that into your presentation, because I don't know anybody else that's using that language. Anyone can sell a house quick. Anyone can. How would you do that, you guys? Come on. You want to sell a house fast, what do you do?
All you have to do is put a sign in the yard and put it up for sale in this market.
Well, yeah, but there's houses that don't sell fast in this market. However, this guaranteed, if you want to sell a house fast, what do?
Price it cheap.
There you go. You price it cheap. And so what was interesting on our role play today, and I love our group that does this because I learned so much. We started out with somebody giving some pats on the back, and one of our leaders in Naples basically wanted to give one of the newer agents a attaboy for getting a listing sold. And so, I mean, that makes kind of sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, I questioned, I said, John, why are you congratulating him on getting a listing sold? You guys, you might have had some sales this past week. Maybe you got a listing, maybe it's sold. Here's what I think mastery level thinking is all about. We as agents don't cause the listing to be sold or not. It's the skill. If you want to be congratulated, we had a discussion about this. Listen, if you want ice, I use this example a lot. If you want ice, you put ice cube trays in the freezer. Then don't then do the rain dance and get all excited when you wake up the next morning and there's ice. You just put it in the right environment, right? And so as we went through the layers of discussion, here's what came out, and here's my aha. Now, see if your market is like this. Now, this is in Naples, and there aren't very many homes that are under $200,000. I mean, or even 150 that have indoor plumbing, right? This was a particular property. It was an outlier. It was a very low end for that market. However, it can be in any environment, any price range. The comps were showing one thing. The seller wanted a different number. In fact, the seller wanted 30% more than the market would bear. And you know what the agent did? And this is what I complimented the agent on, is he went ahead and took the listing, because in a short amount of time, in a matter of less than a week, it sold for exactly what the seller wanted on the property, 30% above past comps. Now, you guys are in that market right now, probably many of you. And here's the aha that I want you to walk away with. Just because comps aren't showing you basically what the thing should be selling for, that does not mean lightning won't strike. Now, again, price range does matter. I had a conversation this past week with a good friend of mine who's got a multi-million-dollar property right on Estero Island, Fort Myers Beach. He's actually on the bay where you have your boat dock and beautiful walk across the street to the beach, an awesome home. And this is an example of the shadow sellers that we talk about. There's people out there that want to take advantage of this, write this down, white hot market, and you need to take the message to them. Well, he called me because I had published something. I did something on my Wink TV spot. The newspaper picked it up. They interviewed me. I was talking about how strong the market was in the luxury and uber luxury market. Now, you could do the same thing. You could go and just look at your MLS and see how your sales have increased. Ours have increased tremendously, more than I've ever seen in my nearly 40 years. I put that out on a little post in my socials. The media picked it up. This guy read the article and said, well, you know, if we can get this kind of money for our home, you know, we would sell it and we'd go do something else. You see, when you look at low inventory, the shadow sellers, or the low hanging fruit, I should call it the invisible fruit, are people out there that would just love to take advantage of this market if you take them the message. So the conversation went like this, much like the guy on our call today. He took the listing even though the comps did not support it. So my friend, basically, and I'm talking to him, and I had one of my agents who specializes in that area, you know, do a quick little research on it. And there was no comps, get this, there were no comps based on his type of property above 2 million. Now, there were some in the, 3 million, low threes that were newer. However, this house was older. In fact, the lot might have been worth more than the house. And so this seller had an expectation north of 2.5, maybe 2.75. So let's stop just for a second on this. And I didn't even plan this, although I think it's going to be a good conversation. How would you have that conversation with a seller? Now, this is somebody that you know, and you know what, they respect you, and you know, what would you say to them? How would you have the conversation with that seller? Does anybody like to role play that with me? I'll let you be the agent, and I'll just be the potential seller. And I may have a couple of you participate, because I don't know what's going to happen on that particular one. I'll share my conversation with you in a moment. However, Ralph on our team with this one in Naples took the listing, had the conversation, took the listing, asked the right questions, and boom, the market absorbed it without evidence that it was worth that. Anyone want to come on with me for a couple of minutes and you be the agent and have that conversation with me, and we'll kind of like dissect it. This is where you grow. Maybe my mic's not on. Is my mic on? All right, well then.
All right, I'll do it. I'll do it.
All right, so you're the agent and you're Rosemary.
Yeah, I suck at this, but I'll try.
Oh, whoa. I mean, y'all feel the energy during there? Now, let's give her some encouragement, all right? Put it in the chat. Give her a thumbs up, knuckle bump. Now reword that I suck. Now, Kansas City's team sucked, okay? The Bucks
I currently suck at this,
right,
but it's my plan to get better.
So say, I love conversational scripts. Just say that. I love conversational scripts.
I love conversational scripts, Denny.
All right, now we're at the table, or maybe we're on the phone. Say, Rosemary, I read something in the paper that the market's kind of crazy, and you know, crazy would be a pretty good number for me. What do you think? What do you think I should do? What do you think if I could get like a crazy number? Do you think it'd be worthwhile?
Well, Denny, what number is crazy to you? What
a beautiful question. I mean, if somebody's going to be talking about that, what we talk about that in the model, like the model is, you know, this is not even an objection, it's a question. However, what she's doing beautifully, in spite of that awful thing she said, what she's doing beautifully is getting clarity. Well, if we could get north of 2.5 million or so on this, maybe 2.75, rather than tearing this down and remodeling, we may just sell it and go find something else.
Well, there's a wide gap between a little over 2 and 2.7. We'd have to look at the comps and see where your house, I forgot one of your things, Denny. Where you have to see where your house, something about the market.
Okay, well, just relax. What would you say if you were on a call with someone today about that?
Well, there's a wide gap between a little over 2 and 2.7. There's like hundreds of thousands of dollars in between there. How about if we check the comps and see if we can find a number right in the middle and see where your house fits with those before we set a goal that's too high, that's too aggressive, or too low.
Okay, awesome. That's awesome. We're not going to role play each one of these. Who wants to do that same role play? Come at it from a different angle if you want to. Who wants to do it? Let's say you've done the research now and the comps are showing, like I said, nothing over 2 has sold. I want 2.7. Who wants to have that conversation with me?
I'll do it.
Curtis. Well, I understand this. You're saying the comps are like under 2, Curtis?
Yeah, that's correct. But
that's not going to cut it for us.
Yeah, in your opinion, what direction do you feel like the market's going right now?
Are you attempting to give me the meat thermometer?
The meat thermometer. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, well, that's one of the scripts we teach, and just for everyone, that you had a version of it. So, Curtis, let me ask you: there's no right or wrong. Do you think the market is working in your favor as a seller or against you? So that's what you're asking. Well, I think the market's pretty crazy right now. So why can't I try for a crazy number?
Well, I think that in this market that you have some room to play with. I mean, as long as adjustments are something that you're willing to work with, shooting a little bit high, might still net you what you're looking for.
Okay, so what do you, I mean, if we're not going to sell it in the number we want, we're just going to stay put. We'll probably just keep the property and, and maybe remodel or tear down and rebuild.
Well, I'm not sure we're on the same page right now. I think that what number do you want to get? You said you want to get between 2.5 or 2.75.
Yeah, 2.75 is better.
I mean, is there any risk in putting it on the market and seeing what the market bears?
I don't think so.
I mean, I think with the the possible profit potential and the way the market is, I think listing it above what the comps are suggesting, as long as we have realistic expectations, could be worth your time.
Now let's talk. Who was listening to what he said there? He was going down the right path. And probably we're tracking on the same thing. There's no risk in putting it on there, right? He's also setting up my expectations to be realistic. Okay. Okay. I get that. I mean, if we're not going to get our number, we're just going to take it off the market.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, what you want to get, what works for you, but and pulling it off the market is something you can do, but the potential to get it and to save yourself the work of tearing it down and remodeling could definitely be good to get you into a new home and something that works out better for you.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Have you looked into what a tear down and remodel would cost?
Now I get that. However, now again, if you guys start going down that road, are you going to start sounding like salespeople?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I probably wouldn't go that'll be a lot. That would be something to consider. And when would the best time to have that conversation be?
When you're not getting the listing.
Or you get it. So let me just share with you how I handled the conversation. And there's no right or wrong or different. I just want you to hear how I handle it, because again, for those that have not been on the call with me before, here's what I believe. One, if a seller wants something greater than the comps, can you be 100% sure that number is too far out that they won't get it?
No.
That's a big fat no, right? So therefore, if that's possible, and this is what the agent in Naples did, right? He didn't get into an argument with them or a tit for tat on what the comps did. He said, so this is what I said to my friend, say, listen, the research shows that there's no data points like yours over 2 based on your condition. I know your lot's a little nicer, a little bigger, blah, blah, blah. However, this is an irrational market. There could be a lightning strike that happens. Now, what I have just said, I believe what I have done with him is there's nothing to support it. However, something might happen. And if somebody wants to list it, and this is a script I want you to write down, when Ralph listed the house or the condo, whatever it happened to be in Naples, at a higher number, 30% higher than market, he asked the question, what are you going to do if the market says no? So Curtis, come back on. You're now the seller. You've got a great mic. You're coming through strong. So Curtis, you want to go at 2.75. Is that what I'm hearing you?
That's correct.
So are you willing to move forward today if we listen at 2.75?
I am.
All right. Do you also acknowledge that this number it would be awesome if you get it right? I mean, you would win and I'd win. However, there's no data to support it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's what I want, but you know, it's not a guarantee.
Okay, and now this would be the other time. Now I'm talking to Kurt, and I was talking to a friend. Now I'm just gonna pretend like Curtis isn't my friend. This is just a business transaction. Curtis, well, so I can tell you I can tell you with 100% certainty what's going to happen next. Would you like to know what it is?
I'm gonna list the house.
Yeah. So yes, so I forget. I should have closed. So Curtis, are you prepared to sign a listing agreement with me at 2.75 today?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Now here's what's going to happen. One of three things will happen. When we list it and we give you the full exposure, outcome number one is going to be low to no showings. If we have low to no showings, that means we're just so high the fish aren't even sniffing the bait.
Okay.
Outcome number two is going to be we have activity, but no offers or maybe a low offer. And activity number three is it sells. Are you okay? Do you understand those outcomes?
Yeah, I understand those. And let me ask you this, in the higher end of the market, how does that affect the number of showings and everything like that right now? Are we going to expect lower showings in general because of the top end of the market, or what can we expect with that?
Well, that's an excellent question. And again, yes, in any market, when you understand the segmentation of your market, every market, just think right now, if you don't have to answer it, what is the sweet spot price range of your market? I don't care where you are, you're going to know the answer to that. So in Lee County, it's 250 to 350. In Naples, it could be 550 to 750. However, when you get outside that sweet spot, the higher up you go in echelon, you have to apply a little bit different dexterity to the number of showings. It makes sense, right? Get a $250,000 listing in any market in any town right now, and you're going to have a lot of activity on it, right? 2.5 million, not so much in some marketplaces. However, the one of the three outcomes is true. Regardless of price range, what we have to do is understand you have to give it more time. You can't evaluate a multi-million-dollar property, generally speaking, if it's outside the sweet spot, in a matter of a week or two. It may be a month. However, I can tell you, if you take a $2.5 million house and you list it at 1 million, will you have it sold? Yes. If you list a $1.5 million house at $1.5 million, or maybe 1.6 or 1.7, you may be at outcome 2. So the three outcomes work regardless of the price range. You just have to allow it to be a little bit longer on some of the price ranges. So my conversation went just like that. I said, basically, if it does not sell, what are you going to do next? In other words, what will you do if the market says no? I prepared him just like you guys were doing. You're preparing me to be realistic. There's no comps. The bottom line is this. This is my advice to you. Take the listing, even if it is not supported by the comps, particularly if they have motivation. Get the listing. Now, again, let's say they're not that motivated. They'll stay in. Is it worth it in this marketplace to have a listing that's a little bit aggressive or a lot aggressive? And let's say there's probably no chance it would sell. In this particular market, is there any ancillary benefits of having that listing?
Absolutely. Lots of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What is it?
Marketing.
Get buyers.
Buyers.
Are what if it was a listing you can have an open house? What if you're going to attract sign calls? So as long as you're honest, very honest with the seller in the fact that, hey, listen, there's only three outcomes and there's no comps to support this. And you didn't come up with a price, they came up with a price. I would take the listing. I would take the listing regardless of their motivation, because I've never seen listing inventory this tight. And as long as you set the expectations up front. I have never advised that before. However, right now, I don't want my people walking away from any listing, because at least we'll get some buyer calls out of it. And so that's free. I wasn't planning on going in that particular direction.
Hey,
So
Coach,
go
can I
ahead.
ask quick question. So,
yeah.
I mean, I could ask the same question to the seller. What if, Mr. Seller, we get an offer of say 2.6 or 2.65 million? Would you take it?
Well, all right, I'll role play that with you. So Jay, okay, let's just think about that. All right, y'all pitch in here. So you would ask me that question. What would be going through the seller's mind, potentially, if you did that in the front end?
That would
He
not.
doesn't think it's gonna sell for 2.7.
Okay, what else?
I'm preparing them for the eventuality, because we are just setting expectations realistic. But if a $2 million property, if they're okay with 2.6 or 2.65, I would still sign it, take the listing and run.
Okay, I get that. Now this is how it hit me, Jay. I mean, it sounds like, that's probably more money than I thought. That wouldn't probably excite me. I mean, I would probably want to start at 2.7, 2.75. Come on, Jay, I'm role playing with you. You're the agent.
Okay. So, I mean, we want to set the expectations right. We know there's in the market, there's no data that supports that. And this is the GOAT market. We'd love to get you more money. In fact, we'd like to get you more money than 2.7 as well. I was just kind of realistically asking you, what if we get these kind of offers? And that's the reason we need to be in the market and having a possibility to reach out those buyers.
Okay. Probably I wouldn't do that. I'd had that conversation probably after I had the listing, because I would just play the game a little bit differently. And that was a great question. You want to find out if they would take it or not. So I find nothing wrong with that question. I probably wouldn't. I'd hold that back a little bit.
So, Coach, let me kind of change the question a little bit. I have somebody in my marketplace, and they expect $3 million for the house.
Right.
They already listed it with the agent, didn't sell. 6 months gone, and they've been waiting for 3-4 months, and I'm still talking to them. So how do I approach them now? Because the expectations are 3 million for a property which is somewhere close to 2.3 or 2.5, let's say.
So it's been on the market 180 days?
It was on the market for 180 days, and then they took a break in the holidays, and now I'm approaching them again so I can get a listing. But the expectations are still too high, $3 million for the property, which data doesn't support. Perfect to this scenario.
So it's not your listing yet, right?
No. I mean, they're expired listing.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know them socially. I've been talking to them so to list their home, but the expectations are too high. So how can I approach this from this point on?
All right. So this would be my conversation. You're that seller. So Jay, hey, obviously I know your home has been on the market. Are you going to be interviewing other agents to get your home sold?
Well, I'm not sure right now. We did it for some time, and we're not sure right now. Ideally, we'd love to get that $3 million so we can move on with the life. Can you get us that money? I'll list it with you.
Okay, so you're saying you'd list it with me if I listed it for $3 million, right?
Yeah.
So I would probably go to motivation next, Jay. So when you sell, what are you going to do next?
Well, I mean, we might go to a smaller town out there, just downsizing. This is a huge property, and we both are aging out there. So what we want to do is maybe go down close to our son and daughter and buy maybe condo close to their town, which is like 150 miles from here.
Oh, that sounds exciting. And then I would hover there a little bit. How's your son feel about that? Blah, blah, blah. So let me ask you, what would be an ideal time frame for you to be able to be closer to your family?
I mean, we don't have to, but if we get the money, I mean, I'd love to at least be there by summer,
Okay, now I'm going to come up with a meat thermometer. You heard that before, right? So let me ask you, Jay, there's no right or wrong answer. Based on what you see happening in the marketplace right now, do you think it favors you as a seller or is working against you?
I guess it favors me as a seller, definitely.
It's favoring you?
Yep.
So if there were a way to get you, a number in which you felt comfortable that was a top market value, would you have a meeting with me?
Okay.
I'm not going to do it on the phone. So now I'm sitting with him. So Jay, let me understand. So you've had it on the market for 180 days. It has not sold. Let me ask you, how many showings did you have the last month it was on the market? Notice, don't ask them how many showings they had over the last 6 months. Does that even matter?
No,
What did you have the last couple weeks or month?
0,
And how many offers did you turn down?
just 1.
And why?
Too low a price.
Do you
But
remember
that
what
was
it came?
way back in, I believe, in September. No,
Okay.
nothing after that.
Do you remember what it was?
It was about 2.3.
And you want 3?
Yes.
So let me ask you, how long are you willing to wait in order to get 3? Now, hang on a second. You guys, I'm playing chess now. Notice I haven't said anything about the market. I haven't told him he's crazy. I'm setting him up. I don't like that term. I'm positioning my pieces, okay?
Yeah.
So how long are you willing to wait in order to get that number?
I don't know. I've been getting so many calls, and there's so many realtors reaching out to me. I'm just hoping we sell it, but I'm not sure how long. We don't have to sell this property, but it'd be ideal if we could sell and move on at least by summer.
So if you could go and get a condo, something smaller to your son, you don't have to sell this house in order to do that?
This is basically my retirement plan. I mean, we've grown out there. We spent 30 years, so we are very emotional about this property. We ideally, if it gets sold up next 3-4 months, good. If it doesn't, then it doesn't.
Okay. So if it doesn't sell, and if the market doesn't give you what you expect, what are you going to do? Are you going to wait here, or are you going to go ahead and just go and get a place closer to your son where you can at least spend quality time with your family?
We haven't thought much about it, but looks like the second option might be in play.
Okay. So how will you feel if a year from now it still hasn't sold at the number you want?
I mean, we're going to feel bad. We think, well, the predictions talking about market being so high, we better get a number, but we'll feel bad if we don't sell it year down the line. Yes.
So you said you come up with 3 million, right?
Yes.
How did you arrive at that number?
Well, again, my wife and me have been talking, and I thought this would be a good one because markets are doing all-time high, and
Yes.
homes around our neighborhood also selling for more and more money. So just did some research, and I mean, you could say this is an ideal expectation.
So watch this question, guys. Why don't you ask 4 for it?
I didn't get you, Coach. Come again?
Why are you only asking 3 million? Why don't you ask 4 million? Now stop. Let's stop and talk about that.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to take them into like a point where that'd be ridiculous. You see, it's one of those whack upside the head questions. If they're not going to base it on any kind of fact whatsoever, they've exposed it for 180 days. They've been sitting in a boat with their fishing hook and bobber in the water for 6 months. And crickets, right? One low offer, 2.3, like way off. Or maybe they're way off. Do you see the scenario?
Absolutely.
What I'm attempting to do is how long is, let's say, willing to wait a year. He's not feeling really good about it, right?
Yeah.
How'd you come up with the price? Well, why don't you ask 4 million, Jay?
No answer for that. I don't have an answer.
Well, I mean, if you're going to be unrealistic, why don't you go for the brass ring? Now, would you have the guts to ask that question, you guys?
I was just going to say, would you ask that?
Yeah.
I would, you could ask anything you want if you ask it the right way.
Yeah, yeah.
Because here's my point. Now I'm going to come back. So let me ask you, how will you feel if this time next year the market continued to say no at 3 million, and now the market's changed because you know how volatile 2020 is. Who knows what 2021 is going to be like?
Mm-hmm.
What if the market goes down 25%? How will you feel?
Well, I might feel bad. You're right. I won't feel good about it.
Now, how about if I showed you a plan that would guarantee you top market value? Top market value. Now, it might not be 3. However, it may be a whole lot more than 2.3.
Well, might be interested. Let us know.
Now, again, on this particular guy, I'm going to go back on what I had to say. Listen, if we list your home at $3 million, although there's no comps to support it, is that a win for you?
Probably not.
What?
No.
It's a win for you, isn't it?
I mean, if it doesn't sell, it's just.
No, it sells at $3 million. That's a win for you, right?
If it sells, absolutely, yeah, it does.
And you can see it would be a win for me, right?
Of course.
So we're on the same team. So if I were to list your home today for $3 million, would you be prepared to list with me today?
Yes.
Look, this is a weird market. I'm going to take the listing and trust, get the commitment to take the listing, go over the 3 outcomes and trust that I can demonstrate to him through weekly communication. That's WEEKLY, not WEAKLY. Weekly communication, show him the market saying no. And I don't think I've ever said it before, and I didn't plan on saying it today. There's almost no listing I'd walk away from right now.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you set the expectations and you don't set the price. Any comments on that before we go into some other things? Okay.
I'm going to run with that, Coach. Can I get a recording of this as well? I need to play again, and I'm going to go and meet this guy.
Absolutely. It's $9.95, and I'll throw in a set of Ginsu steak knives. How's that?
Super, excellent, taken.
You go to my YouTube channel. It's actually going to be Denny Grimes, The Mastery of Real Estate. Denny Grimes, The Mastery of Real Estate. That's my new YouTube channel. This will be a recording, and I don't know, my assistant will turn it around. And Jay, I'll see if I can't get it to you sooner. Okay, so really quick, let's go through some things. Again, the model, acknowledge, isolate, address, and close. Does anybody have an objection they'd like to role play to see if they can stump me? And if you do, I'll knuckle bump you and enter you into the drawing for two tickets to Greece. Give me one. I'll follow the model and demonstrate how it can be done.
We'd like to list a property, but we kind of worried out what will happen because homes are selling so fast. We're going to be homeless. We won't be able to buy another property soon.
Okay, who's going to be my partner? Let me get my notes here. So you want a list, right? And so you're afraid that basically homes are selling so fast you won't have anywhere to go?
Yes.
I understand. Other than that, any other reason why you wouldn't list with me?
No.
Okay. So if I could demonstrate to you how we can make this a smooth move from this house to another house, would you be ready to move forward?
Yes.
All right. That's number one. Did I close? So I've closed it. He's only got one. He's got no other objections. So I isolated. He's got one. So I've unloaded, then I unpacked. In other words, I've gotten to the center of the Tootsie Roll Pop and I close. If I can make this a smooth move. Now what we have to do is this. This comes up all the time. This is probably the number one objection I get from other agents. The next thing we have to determine, guys, is this. Now watch. Is Jay a buyer or a seller? Write that down. That's the next thing we have to determine. Is Jay a buyer or seller, you guys?
It's a buyer.
Maybe. Or it might be a seller. You can't be, and I'll say this, I'm experimenting with a statement. You can't be both. Let me demonstrate this. Jay, let me ask you this. Do you have to sell this house to buy your next house?
Yes.
Now is Jay a buyer or a seller?
He's a buyer.
Seller.
Yes. You guys, this is a V8 moment. He is not a buyer yet.
Right.
He's not a buyer because he has to sell. He's a wanter. He's a hoper. If I walked into your open house and I had no job, no credit, IRS liens, and no money, I love the house. Am I a buyer?
No.
Nope. I'm a looker. I'm a hoper. I'm a wonder. So then, okay, so what if Jay would have said, yes, I can buy a house without selling my house?
Then I become a seller.
He becomes a buyer.
Sorry.
If the person has the ability to buy without selling, they are a buyer. Now they may want to sell first because they don't want to own two. I'm not saying that's the direction they want to go. However, I want you guys to understand if they can't buy without selling, you've got to be talking to them as a seller. All right. So Jay, you have to sell first in order to buy, correct?
Yes, sir.
The next, if you're writing down the steps, if you're running the bases, the next thing we want to do is find out if there's stuff out there in their expectation world that's affordable and available. Because what if they've been looking and they've been looking for 2 years and not one house has come up because their list of criteria is way too big. So Jay, have you guys been shopping for a home online, looking around? Have you found houses you like?
Yeah, we've seen houses around there because we want to be in the same neighborhood. We've seen houses out here, but that's been an issue, because homes have been selling so fast. It will be upgrade for us. My home is a little bit smaller. I would love to get a couple of additional rooms, at least 2,000 square feet and lot size of 10,000 and up.
I think he's really a buyer. I think he's really looking for something like that, right? Probably what I would have done, now that I'm thinking about it, I'd have probably gone to so when you sell this, what are you looking for? I'd have gone to motivation. Oh, I'm going to stay in the same neighborhood, something bigger, blah, blah, blah. All right. Then have you seen that online, homes that would meet your needs? Have you found them online?
Yeah, we have seen a few actually, but haven't really had the courage to go out and check it out because of this concern we have. But ideally, yes, we would love to check it out and seal the deal. So we're waiting for your ideas.
Right. Okay. Awesome. I'll give you those. And so now I'm going to ask the meat thermometer again. Why do you ask the meat thermometer? Because you want them to articulate, rather than you tell them it's a white hot market. Why don't you ask them what they feel? So Jay, let me ask you a question. There's no right or wrong answer here. Based on what you see happen in the marketplace, from a seller's perspective, is the market working in your favor or working against you?
Well, to buy a property, I think it's might be against us, and that is a concern. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. No, from a seller's perspective, is the market working in your favor as a seller?
Yes, it is. I think so. It is. Yeah.
Now, I want to make sure you understand that. I know there's two sides of it. Here is the thing I want you guys to understand as we stop the tape here just for a little bit. People want to sell high and buy low, or at least, they want to sell high. They just don't want to buy high. I get that. However, understand, and this is worth writing down. I shared this on a role play that I did earlier today. If you're watching that awesome Super Bowl game where the Bucs were kicking Kansas City's tail, and you're on the couch and you wanted Cheetos in the kitchen, and there's no one there to bring them to you, you have to decide, you'll go get them. Oh, I don't want to get up. Well, then sit still and don't eat Cheetos. For every decision one makes, there's a consequence, right? So they want to sell high. They don't want to buy high. So if they don't want to buy in this marketplace, here's the question I want you to ask them. I understand. Would you rather buy when the market's falling?
No.
If they're a seller, what are they going to say? No. And the only way you can win in this market, or as I like to say, have your cake and eat it too, Jay, if we could sell it basically, I mean, if you see houses coming, they're going, let me ask you, if you can't buy one of those until you sell, how will we ever own another house in that part of the neighborhood?
I guess you're right. It's difficult that way because if we get that extra amount of money, we might be spending it, at least most of it, if not all, buying another property.
Well, if I can show you a way, just if there was a way to go from this house to the house you really want and make it a seamless transaction, you could actually maybe take advantage of this white hot market, put the extra equity in your pocket, and then maybe have some time to find a house where you might be able to get a good buy on one. Would that be worth trying?
I guess it would. Yeah, we're open to that.
See, the sellers are in a pickle. They know the inventory's tight. They know if they sold their home, they could sell it pretty fast. So what you have to do is you have to help them understand, they will never be a buyer unless they sell. Now, if they wait for the market to slow down and which to buy when there's more inventory, that's a Cheetos couch thing. What happens to their momentum as a seller? It goes down. So here's the proposition you want to give your sellers. Well, what if we put it on the market where you could maximize your return? And if we could do this and we could find a buyer that would allow you to stay in the house for a month or two, or I would just say a period of time, in order for you to find the right house at the right number, would that be a win-win for you?
Absolutely.
So take this big, ugly decision and break it down into bite-sized baby steps. And yes, there's buyers out there, you guys, that still have those mansions in California and around these other marketplaces that would love to be able to secure a place because what? They're buyers, not sellers. They would love to buy a place and then secure it on this escalator market and go back and sell and allow your sellers to stay in that home at post-closing or whatever. So how much time do you think you would need after closing to feel comfortable that the right house would come along, Jay?
Well, I don't know. It's ideally in ideal world, we'd like to find an ASAP, but let's say at least 2 to 3 months.
Okay, well now you know. There you go. Does anybody have any ahas or anybody have any comment on that? Just on the procedure, the mindset, understanding, are they a buyer or seller? Because if they can buy without selling, then you may want to help them buy something and secure it, then come back and sell. It's important to know if you're cutting off their leg or cutting off their arm. It's just important. Probably a bad analogy. Any comments? Ahas? Who's got another objection? Come on, make it tough. While you're thinking, I had somebody email me and I'm going to share with you. We talked about this last week. What if a seller were to ask you, what will you do differently? We talked about guarantees. What guarantees do you have in your listing presentation? What in your value proposition is guarantees? So let me share with you some of the ones that we have. Well, there's 5 of them. Here they are. The email said, would you share the list? Well, I didn't have a slide, so I made this slide. Number 1, I guarantee you the way that we work, we can sell it at top dollar. Number 2, I guarantee you'll be happy with us as a team or me as a listing agent, because if you're unhappy, you can fire me at any time. I can guarantee you that we have the lowest potential fee of anyone on the marketplace. Number 4, we'll guarantee the buyer who buys your home that if they don't like it in the first year, we'll sell it for them for free. And number 5 is, if we can't sell at a price we agree on, I'll buy it from you. Now, those are 5 guarantees that we offer. What guarantees do you offer? And what could you offer if you're not? Any questions on any of those? You guys are quiet.
I have a question, Denny. I have
Yeah.
a question. So that number 5, that guarantee number 5, that you would buy it if we can't sell it. Now the catch, or I guess maybe catch isn't the right word, but the catch to that is a price we agree on. Is that right?
Yes, because I am not the government.
Right.
Hey, Denny, how about, what's your commission rate? Because I'm interviewing an agent that charges less.
Okay, so how much are they charging?
They're doing a full 4% full service listing.
I see. So define. All right, that's interesting, Jeff. What do they mean by full service?
Meaning they're going to market the home, hold open houses, make sure it gets exposure online, use a professional photographer, all the things that they said are typically full service.
Well, what they're doing is they're defining their list of things they're describing is full service, although it may not be full service. Let me ask you this. Is selling your house at top market value something you would consider kind of full service as an agent?
Yeah, I guess at the end of the day, that's the most important part.
Did they offer that as part of their full service package?
They said that they had strategies to make sure that we potentially could get multiple offers and get the best price.
Okay. What other guarantees did they offer, Jeff?
They didn't really guarantee anything. They just said they would, do all the marketing to get my house sold.
Now, is that what their normal fee is, or did you ask them to discount it?
No, that's what they offer.
Okay, so that's their model. I see. So let me ask you, would you expect a different quality of food walking into a McDonald's versus a Ruth Chris?
Absolutely.
Would you feel like they would be the same price?
Not even close.
Would it be the same experience?
Not close at all.
Well, how would you like to have your cake and eat it too, Jeff?
What do you mean, Denny?
Well, how would you like to be able to have the Ruth Chris service and actually maybe more of a McDonald's price?
How do you do that?
Well, let me ask you. So if you pay 4% and in commission and they sell your home 2% or 3% below top market value, how much did you really pay?
6 or 7%.
Okay. And if someone could demonstrate to you that they may be able to sell it for a couple of percent more than the other because of the way their strategies and the way they work, if they could sell it for more money and put more money in your pocket, would they be worth more to you?
I mean, ideally, yes, if I was actually knew I was going to get more money. If it ended up not getting any more money and I paid more commission, I'm not sure that would be a benefit.
Okay. Well, I understand that. Well, would it be worth, I don't know if I'm sitting across the table or this is on the phone. Would it be worth a 30-minute conversation to show you how I do that?
Sure. Yeah, it'd be worth the conversation.
So, I mean, now I'd have the appointment. So then I would go through you guys, and you've seen this before. Let me just go through a couple of these slides really quick. I would get out my legal pad and I'd put that drawing up there. So let me ask you, if the green line's top market value and we don't know where that is until we expose it, they said they'd have multiple offers, correct?
Yeah, they said that potentially they could, yes.
And in order to get multiple offers, would you have to price it above or below the top market value line?
It sounded like they were talking about pricing it pretty aggressively.
Well, now I hope you guys, when you hear that word, could that be taken a couple of different ways? Like, what do you mean aggressively?
Well, like, if the average house in the neighborhood seems to be selling in, at 550, we want to make sure we price it at or below that to make sure we have the most opportunity.
And if their model is to sell cheap, do you think they want to sell fast as well?
That's a good point. I didn't really think about that.
And is selling fast sometimes against the best interest of a seller, particularly in this upward moving market?
What do you mean by that?
Well, for example, I mean, if your house at 550, if you priced it at 400, would you have multiple offers?
I'm sure we would. Absolutely.
So if you priced it at 525, would you have multiple offers?
Again, most likely, yeah. If there's a lot of buyers out there, sure.
Sure. And so what I'm saying is their model is to price it aggressively, like you said, meaning that they're going to price below the line. Our model is not to look for the average buyer. Our model is to look for the buyer who's weary of losing out and being outbid on houses. Our model is to price above the line. We want the aggressive side to be to the seller's benefit, not the buyer's benefit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So what if you put yourself in a buyer's position where you've lost out on houses already, 2 or 3 houses, you made offers over asking price, and the buyer sees us come on the market aggressive to your benefit. They're tired of losing. If that was you and you were needing to buy a house, what would you do?
I'd probably go all in if I like the house.
Well, I'm not looking for multiple buyers. I'm looking for the one that's serious and motivated and want to buy a house and willing to step above where the other data points were. Now, would you want that strategy working in your benefit, or would you rather have the aggressive nature working in the buyer's advantage?
I think I like your strategy, Denny.
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, that's any discussion on that, you guys. Talk to me, because if you don't understand what I'm doing here, it's just words.
Yeah, but
I mean,
in this market though, won't there be multiple bids so we can set the price low and then it'll bid up to beyond the highest price?
Well, that's the theory. However, when you have multiple offers on the house, can you say that you sold it above market value?
Well, you really won't know.
You don't know. And again, you could argue on my side, if you're priced at A could be up here, you could come down. Sooner or later, you'll be an outcome 1, you'll get to outcome 2, the closer to the green line you come. That's my model that I like to use. And I can just tell you, although it has not been proven in the test tube yet, which one do you think is more palatable to a seller? A higher asking price, in which if we're going to miss it, can we miss it down here? We may get multiple offers. Well, if that was the case, why doesn't everyone list everything at $1?
That's true.
I mean, that's just my thinking. I know a lot of people ask that same thing, Rosemary. And so I don't do that. In fact, I had a conversation with a seller today, great client, and he was talking about meeting with one of my top agents, right? And, and my agent went in and said, well, what's your expectation? Well, how about 850, 870? And he already knew that there was no comps like that. And so my client seller's talking to me. And I've known this guy 25 or 30 years. And he was a little put back that my agent didn't offer him more input. Most likely that was already an aggressive number. Now he might have been able to have a conversation with him instead of leaving him hanging. However, the last thing that I want to happen, guys, on my team is to get a listing and get multiple offers on it right away. I do not want that, because that means to me that I priced it too low. Believe me, there's no magic in selling a house. Sherry, you have something to say?
In today's market, anyway, even if you're pricing it at the market value or a little higher, you're getting multiple offers anyway, in most cases.
Anytime, this is my opinion, you guys, anytime you get multiple offers on a home, you've underpriced it. You did not give enough room between the last group of comps. That could have been last week or last month. You could have gone higher. You would have been at point B at some point, maybe not there, maybe there. I don't really know. I mean, this is just conceptual. For the way that I market my properties and my conversations with the seller. Get this, you're going to think I'm crazy, and I'll end with this, and then we'll finish with ahas. A great listing in this market is when you put it on the market and nothing happens. Nothing. Outcome 1. Now we know for a fact we're too high. Now let's go find it. We've eliminated that price point and every price point up. Now let's go down incrementally until we get to outcome number 2. And it takes 30 days to sell a house instead of 3. If the sellers, again, the definition and my definition of a great listing agent is you maximize equity return in the time frame allowed by the seller. Now you change the market dynamics where a flat or maybe the market changes. That's a different take. You have to get aggressive there. You have to start pricing ahead of the market. What I'm doing in an upward moving market, point A is pricing ahead of the market. And I understand there's a different philosophy. So what did you hear today that stuck? Give me 3 or 4 ahas verbally, because I'm not monitoring the chat. If you put it in the chat, Sonny, let me know if there's anything in there. What have you heard today that's worthwhile?
For me, I think that what I heard you saying today that is that regardless of how they want to price their house, as long as you have uh, made it clear the expectations or set the expectations to go ahead and take the listing or
Yeah, I'm pretty much feeling that right now. And I've never said that ever. I've always said if they have motivation, I'll take it. I might in this market right now, as inventory starved as it is, I might take it if they have no expectation, as long as they don't, as long as my fingerprints aren't on that number. And like you said, Sherry, I've set the expectations up right. Thank you. Any other ahas?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, Denny, that you would, potentially talk about listing the house at a higher price point. If I feel like all the coaching and training has always been to bring the seller's expectation down to a lower price, and to actually flip that and want to go in higher and stronger is interesting.
Well, I'm not suggesting the numbers though, Jeff, they are. And if they say, hey, look, the comps are at 500, they went 575. Can you say for sure it's not going to sell at 575? No. So then, okay, so if I were to list your house at 575, are you ready to move forward with me today? Okay. I have not put my good housekeeping seal of approval on that. I have not articulated. I have no fingerprints or DNA on that number. Sign the listing agreement. Okay. What are you going to do if the market says no? There's only 3 outcomes. This is how we're going to evaluate it. I have no ownership in that. I don't represent that. However, do you now have a client? If they have motivation, they'll capitulate or the market will catch it. And if they don't have motivation, I trust you'll get something out of it. So yeah, it is different than what everybody teaches. And maybe Gary Keller would tar and feather me and burn me at the stake. I don't know.
I have a question about your strategy.
Yep.
Good, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Hey,
do.
Pam, you might want to mute yourself. Go ahead, Curtis.
What's your time frame with your strategy at trying to price ahead? What's your time frame for making price adjustments?
Well, that's an excellent question. And you guys, if you can hang it on here a second, I'll put a bow in it in a second. It really depends on the price range. If you're in the sweet spot, you'll know in a couple of days if you missed it or not, right? So when we get showings, and they tell me, but they're getting all these showings, like we had 14 showings. Oh, I hate that. Probably too low. If you're in $1 million price range or an outlier price range for your market, you may have to evaluate it every month, not every day or every week. One more aha, I'll let you go.
I have one. It seems like the more you can educate the seller, because it seems like just from listening to you, it seems like every seller has a perception of pricing and how real estate transactions go. But when you're educating them and making them part of the process and the process that they understand, not just sign here, we're going to do this, not just tell them, but you're kind of making them a part of it. So you're treating them like partners and equals instead of like partners and equals in the process.
Well, that's a great observation. You're exactly right. And I've never been on a dating site, and you've heard all the funny stories about some guy who puts himself on a dating site, and he may not be like a Brad Pitt or Thor. His expectations may be out of whack, and here's all the things he wants. Well, he's going to have the same type of outcomes as sellers. If he has low to no activity, well, he's fishing without bait.
Right.
He's going to have to change his expectations, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing. If your water is cold, yet there's not ice, well, you're close, but no cigar. You're not in the right environment. And so what's beautiful about the efficiency of the market, it takes all the guesswork out. Our skill and what we're attempting to do in this series of classes, and thank you so much for being here, is give you the skill and the dexterity to help them move and give them directions to where they need to be successful. And it's all about partnering with them, understanding where they are, and leading them to where you want them to go. And notice, you never hear me tell them anything. That's where I want you guys to start moving towards gradually.
Right, yeah, that's why I didn't articulate it properly, but that's exactly what the point I wanted to make, that they're part of the process. They're an important part of the process.
They are an important part of the process. You guys share the class with some people. I know Jeff and Amador, and I've been to his group. Somebody in California has come in. If you think some of your colleagues and agents can benefit from this, share the link. You can reach out to me at dennydeliverstraining@gmail.com. Go to my Denny Grimes Mastermind and our Mastery of Real Estate for a recording of this. And I wish you well. Thanks for being on the call. Be careful out there. Love you, mean it. Knuckle bump.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bye.
Denny.
Thanks, Denny.